Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time.
Hello everyone, welcome back to VLSI for all. Today we have Mayank with us, who is the member of KAPOW, and for the first time we have someone who is actually jack of all trades and master of some. This episode is going to be special. You would be knowing at the end of this episode why, because he is a great personality and I'm sure many of us are going to get influenced today. So over to you, Mayank, doing today.
I'm good. First of all, really thank you for that, introduction. I hope I do justice to the term when you say master of some. I still believe I'm learning a lot of new things and there's a long way to go for me in any of the fields I'm pursuing. But still, yeah. So thank you for that introduction. I'm doing good, as trying to get back into rhythm again after the short bout of pandemic again. So we're working on it and getting back in the rhythm again. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay, Mayank, can you just give us a brief about yourself? Like I know difficult to actually name what you actually do, but can you just describe yourself to our audience?
Sure. Okay. Two things. I've been living two very different lives for a very, for an intermediate period in my life. Now I have segued into one for sure. So till 2018 I was a nerd, as you can see, I still have lots of books. I love reading. I have glasses, typical nerd picture I fit. And I was really fascinated by physics and how the universe works and how the world works and understanding everything. So was interested in physics, still am, but very differently now. Was planning to go for my master's and PhD in physics and theoretical physics in particular. If anybody is from the physics background, they usually ask me what was that you were planning to do. I was more interested in quantum field theory, so was working towards that. But then music has always been a part of my life since early childhood. So I've been singing all along, learning on my own. I have never took a training up till recently. So after college, I have also been in writing for a very long time. So I started writing songs for the first time. I was like, okay, to execute this, I need a team. So because I just know how to sing, I need other people who can play the instruments and everything. So I found some like-minded people back in college, they were my juniors from the college itself. And after college, I ventured into a new life, which was trying to make it as a musician in our country. So yeah, so from then on, I've been a musician, then segued into a digital marketer, because I realized that for music, you have to actually put yourself out there. So you have to learn how to sell the product. So got into digital marketing, did that for a while, still doing it. Never left anything. I picked something up, I'm still doing those things, but in different capacities now. My recent thing has been, I have started teaching for the last 1.5 years and have been loving it. So now I'm at a phase where I'm like, okay, to kind of get to the next level of what I'm trying to do, I need to interact with people who are beginners, and I have to impart that knowledge so that I can find gaps in my own knowledge, and then I can improve those gaps and get to the next level. And in this entire process, I am learning, I am helping other people realize their goals and dreams and whatever it is. So that's about me. Like as of now, I'm a musician primarily. Like my main job is to make music, to perform all around the country. On the side, I like, I love to read. I'm a voracious reader. I just read anything and everything. I just read like, like a maniac. And I do digital marketing for my own band, KAPOW, and I've been teaching. Yeah, so that's it. And have been doing some physics in the background just for my own sake.
Okay, coming back to physics. Well,
Yeah.
I can relate it because it was also my favorite subject in
Ah,
12th.
nice.
And but I didn't know like like there is field specifically to physics in which I can do engineering. But you took engineer's degree in engineering physics. So
Yeah.
like how you actually convince your parents? Like
Okay. So,
most of your like there are like typical engineering fields like computer science, electrical, mechanical. So what is this
yeah,
degree
yeah, man.
about, and how you were sure that okay, this is going to turn out to be great for you?
This was very interesting because till like, I was in 10th, 11th grade, I was a real fanatic for chemistry. I loved chemistry, like inorganic, organic, like, I used to sit down and study chemistry for hours. But then like, I started getting interested into physics. Like I was like, okay, physics and mathematics might be the key to understanding all the other phenomena to a huge degree. So after 12th, I was like, okay, I need to find a course in which I can study physics. Physics honors was always a choice. But I also wanted to like, understand how engineering works. So I found this course, engineering physics, in a couple of colleges in our country, pretty new. So after I gave my JE the basic things, like, it was a funny story because I went to college, I had a decent rank, and they asked me like, are you sure that you want to go into engineering physics, because it was sort of a less sort of after a branch. And I was like, yes, I'm sure. They're like, once you make the decision, make this decision, you cannot go back. I'm like, yeah, I understand that, and I am pretty sure that I want to study physics for like the next 4 years. And they were like, okay, cool. Like, if you wanted, there were students around me. They were like, bro, like, why are you taking this branch at such a rank? You can get any other field. I'm like, yes, like, but I want to study physics. I want to study physics, and I want to understand how I can apply physics. At that time, I was more into applied physics than theoretical physics. It was later, while I was studying in college during my third year or fourth year, that I segued into theoretical physics more than the applied and experimental physics.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's now coming to the question of how I convinced my parents. Um, like I didn't need a lot of convincing. My parents have been really supportive of whatever I'm trying to do. They just have one thing, that whatever you are trying to do, just be honest about it, put your best effort into it, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you are like, not able to do it. So in that sense, they have been really, really supportive. When I told them, okay, I want to study physics, they're like, they had the same worries as any other parent, like, are there any job opportunities after that, like, what you're going to do after that. I was like, for now, what I want to do is I want to study physics till my master's and PhD level, and then get into proper research. And it's obviously not going to be as lucrative as any like, other fields, but I'll be happy, and I'll be like, thinking I'm doing something and understanding something at a greater extent. So they were supportive of that. They were like, okay, cool, go ahead, just do your best. And I did, like, I did get I did get a gold medal in my department after 4 years, which was sufficient enough for my parents to like, kind of give them that confidence. Okay, like he was serious about it, like, that's why he could ace the entire 4 years. And after that, segueing into music, because that's going to be another question, how did I convince my parents to get into music then,
That's a
right after?
real
Yeah,
question to know.
exactly. So since as a kid, I was horrible at studies. Like, I didn't used to study, but around 10th, 11th, 12th, I started like, enjoying studying and understanding subjects. So that's when my grades improved. And because I was always a straight A student, so my parents were happy. Yeah, and after college, like my mother still tells me like, a gold medal leke ghar mein baitha hua hai tu, and you're doing music. But she's like, it's okay, because we know you are capable of doing that. So we know ki if you put your mind and heart and energy into music also, it might just take longer, but you are capable enough that you'll do something here as well. So I guess that confidence came from my previous experience. Like, it was like a little CV I gave to my present. See, like, I have all these achievements. I have done this. Can I go pursue music? They're like, okay, looks good. Like, you seem to be a good student. So go ahead and try it. So it was something like that.
No doubt, Mayank, that you are someone who actually follows passion, and taking physics was really a bold move. Okay, so like also not only just academically, you also did some summer research fellow at
Yeah,
Indian
yeah, I
IIT
did.
Delhi.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like how was this? Like what was your role over there?
Okay, so as I told you, like, during my third and fourth year, I started getting into theoretical physics. Though
Mhm,
engineering physics is more towards the applied side of it.
mhm,
So in my third and fourth year, I started to, like, segue even from my engineering field. I was like, okay, I'm not interested in this anymore. I want to do, like, pure theoretical work. So that's how I found, like, the IIT Delhi research, and it was under a professor who was working on quantum field theory. So I must tell you, like, I went there and I was pretty shocked because I wasn't ready for it. Like,
mhm.
I realized that to understand physics at a greater level, I need to have a real good grasp at mathematics. And that was something, like, I was struggling with. So in those couple of months, there were times that where I was able to understand the principles, the, like, what is happening, but I was failing miserably at actually trying to derive them and, like, understand them mathematically. So I had to work on my mathematical foundation more than my, like, physics in those 2 months, but they were really eye-opening and fundamental. So what I did in the research was basically I was giving simple problems like, harmonic motion, three body problems, and I had to, like, derive quantum mechanical equivalents of them and get to field equations eventually. So I wouldn't say like I was very successful at doing that because of my limitations at mathematics, but it was it was enjoyable, frustrating at times, but a huge learning experience for me, which got me later interested into mathematics a lot. So it has always been like, I was struggling at something, and then I started to try it and learn something about it, and then I got interested in the field. So it has always been like that.
Great, great, great. So a lot of talk about physics, mathematics. Now let's come to the real question. Like, were you
Yes.
you were actually good at music and this artistic field, or eventually during your college duration,
Hmm.
you actually figured out that yeah, music is something that you should be focusing more on, and you should move towards this your passion. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, got the question. So I think I've been singing since I was 3 4. My parents were like, school mein jo bhi competition ho raha hai, all
mhm,
these things. So ऐसा नहीं है कि it was just in the moment कि अच्छा ठीक है अब से music करेंगे. It has always been there, but it was never serious enough that I thought कि I would make a career into it. Even I never thought about it, let alone my parents. For
mhm,
for me, it was also just a hobby. Like I like to do, I like to sing, and I never learned also. So all the things I knew about music just came from listening to other people, maybe reading a little bit about it, or just watching some performances or anything. So when I got into college, and mind you, before college, I used to sing in Hindi only. So I didn't even used to listen to a lot of English music, like, a little bit, but not a lot. In college, I started listening to English music, and I was like, okay, cool, this is fun. Like, let me try this out. So I started competing in college events and everything. It was really, like, stressful situation for me because I'm not good at it. I didn't used to speak sing English songs, and music was new to me. And here there were people who have been learning for 15, 17 years for their life, and now they're competing, and I'm competing with them. So I really made a fool out of myself for the initial couple of performances. I used to go there, sing, like, people used to laugh even, like, and it was all good. But again, struggle. So I was like, okay, I need to learn this. So I started practicing. I started learning from my seniors in college, like, who were running the music society and all of those things. Started reading books about it, starting watching videos, and started learning and started singing a lot. And in those 4 years after college, I was confident enough that, like, still a long way to go. I don't know anything about music, but I can write, I can make music which actually people are enjoying, I can sing and people are actually, like, feeling that emotion. So why not give it a shot and let's try doing it. I've been doing it since I was 3. So then I started taking music seriously in my last year of college. I started writing music. I started training my juniors of all the things I know. So teaching in any field has been good for me. So I started training my juniors in the last year of my college as the for like, music societies and everything. And then started writing my music, releasing my music. And in this process, while performing, while doing all of these things, I got better at music. And recently I started teaching from all the knowledge that I have acquired from books and courses. And now I am also learning, like, even though, like, I'm touring around the country, I can sing, I can teach, but I realize there's such a huge amount of information still out there which I need to understand. So I'm still reading, still teaching myself, still getting asking people to teach me. So that's been how it is. So it was never a spur of the moment decision, but it happened gradually over a span of 3-4 years that I started gaining confidence in the field. And after college, I was like, okay, I want to give this a shot. I gave myself 2 years. I said to my parents, give me 2 years. Let me try this out. If I start enjoying this, if I'm making progress, if I feel like, this is the right thing, then I'll stick to it. Otherwise, I can go back to physics and pursue my master's and PhD again. But I started doing this, and I soon realized that running a band is very similar to running a startup. It's not just a music band. It very soon becomes a startup because there's a team. You have to handle finances, you have to manage it, you have to make distinctions between the projects. You have to start digital marketing for it. You have to do all of those things. And that's when I got hooked. I was like, okay, this is a business in making, and I can probably learn more about it. This is a field which I know nothing about. Business is something which goes like this to me. Physics, I can understand. Business, no. But now for the last 3 years, I've been like trying to understand business, trying to understand taxes and all of those things. And I'm getting interested into it. So now I don't like, now my parents know, okay, he's going to stick with this. He's going to try to make this big. And like, he's going to do physics in the background now just for his fun. So that's how my journey has been in music, at least.
Nice. That's great, man. I'm actually curious. Did you actually follow someone as your role model during your college, or still do you look upon someone as your mentor or model?
I mean, they have changed because my
Even
interests
models
have
have changed.
Exactly, but they have to, right? I mean, not changed. It's more like my, like, I consider it like, a council in my mind. So the council is becoming bigger and bigger. Earlier there were used to be 2 people in the council. Now it's like, like 10-member council itself. So back when I was in college, I was interested in physics. I used to like, learn a lot from Richard Feynman because he was one of the physicists that I understood. He was so clear about the thought process. He used to bring down even the complex ideas to very layman terms. So I wanted to understand every phenomena in that simplicity. So Richard Feynman was one. Second, also he was also interested in music. So funny coincidence. Another one, like, was Albert Einstein, because I've read about him so much. I was just like, like any other person who is interested in physics, you adore Einstein. You love his ideas. You're like, oh wow, what a genius man. So I was the same kid, like, and he was also interested in music, violin and all. So I always had this key, no matter what I'm doing, even if I'm pursuing physics full time, I'll always have a musical element to my personality. So I think that kind of was there. Now it is a little more diverse, I would say. Beyond those 2 people, I look up to, like, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, because I have seen, like, how he has progressed his career. I feel very motivated. I'm a big fitness fanatic as well. So I really like to take care of my body, like, work out every day, because I believe, like, to be a good singer, to do anything, you have to keep your body in a tip-top shape. So Dwayne Johnson is one. I don't know if you know Tom Bilyeu, like, he has impact theory. So great influence on me as a person. Like, I've been watching his content for the last 3-4 years since college, and it has made a huge impact on my health, on my productivity, on my management skills, on my, like, building the big business I'm making, all these things. So these are the 4 people which I most often go back to, their things, their content, their books. There are plenty of people, like, it keeps changing, it keeps growing for different phases in my life. So yeah.
Nice. And in your opinion, what qualities or skills do you think a musician should have?
Okay, a musician, skills that a musician needs. I mean, one is the one thing that you need irrespective is discipline,
Yeah.
which was clearly lacking in me when I was in college or before college. I was a very whimsical person. I do things, but no rhyme or rhythm, no routine, no discipline. But in the last 5 6 years, I have worked on building my routines and discipline. And now I always say to people, like, one thing that will make you different from other people and help you achieve whatever's on your list is discipline, taking small steps every day. So even if you are a musician, which is considered a field where you have to be creative and free, and you people generally have an image of musician that they're just very free outgoing people, they do things on their own, at their own time. It's not like that. If you want to be successful at making music and performing, you have to be disciplined, you have to practice every day, you have to take care of your body. That is a really, really important thing, because it's your instrument. For even if you're playing a guitar, even if you're playing a drum, you have to keep your body very, very in shape. You have to take care of what you're eating. You have to take care of your mind. You have to keep reading. Even if you're a musician, that doesn't mean you'll stop reading or stop learning. You have to keep learning, keep reading. So I think that discipline and that hunger for knowledge, for learning more, is what I feel is very crucial to a musician, because I am that musician. Like, I like to be in that space where I'm struggling. I have to keep learning and I have to be disciplined every day.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you would be following some practice routines. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I do. I'm amazing. One of my favorite questions, because a lot of people ask me, how am I able to juggle so many different things? And how are you able to, do this as well and do this as well? And
Yeah.
how are you so fit and all of these things? I'm like, yeah, simple answer. So some of the things I've been doing are, I wake up every day. The first thing that I do is, I have tons of registers here, which I have filled in the last couple of years. I write first thing in the morning. I write 3 pages at least. Okay. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes it's 5 pages, 6 pages. Sometimes it's barely 1 page, and I have to just I keep going on. Or kya? What else? I have nothing to write about. What am I gonna do? I'm just filling pages with these lines. But I write. No matter what happens, I don't get up until I write 3 pages. And that has changed that has been the major driving force in my changes, because every day when I'm confronting myself, I'm talking to myself, I'm writing down ideas, my dreams, whatever is worrying me, it all gets on paper, so I can see it much more clearly. And my goals have become clearer, my ideas have become clearer. I have a huge stack of songs now, because some days I'll just wake up and I'll write a song directly, and then I'll be my own judge. I'll be like, this line ain't good. Oh, this is very cliched line. This, I think this is copied from somewhere. I was listening to this song, I'd copied this line entirely. So I get to know what am I doing myself. So that has been the major driving force. Other than that, uh, one very interesting thing, I don't know how many people are interested in health and everything, but I am off sugar for almost 2 years now. So I don't consume any amount of sugar, just fruits sometimes, fruits, one or two, couple of fruits during my day, but no sugar, no added sugar at all, no meetha, no biscuits, no nothing, no sugar, nothing packaged. So I'm off sugar for a very long time, and
Like
that
you
has helped me.
don't you use even alternatives like jaggery or something?
No, I don't. No sugar. It was really difficult. I used to get headaches. My sleep was off. I used to be in a very irritating mood, but now it's all gone. And I love this way, because I have started appreciating the natural sweetness of things. To me, an apple is so sweet. To what other people might say, this is okay. It's meetha, but not too much. I'll be like, this is too sweet. So my baseline of sugar has changed. Another thing that I'm off caffeine. You might expect that since I'm a musician, alcohol would be a very common thing. It was initially in my music years, but now I'm off alcohol for more than a year and a half. No caffeine in my system, no sugar. I really take care of my body, like in terms of what is going inside my body. No junk food as well. Like, I obviously sometimes break it socially. I'm out with friends, I have to eat junk food, but I keep a note of it. I write it down so that I can see how many times a month I'm eating those junk food items. So one thing is, I have fallen in love with organizing, discipline, tracking. So I use a bullet journal. I track everything down. What am I eating when I'm waking up? What workouts I'm doing? What habits I'm following? Like, am I brushing my teeth every day at night? Like, if I miss it, like, there's a big cross there and I see it at the end of the month. What happened this month? I didn't brush my teeth for 5 days. What is wrong with me? So tracking my own progress is what has helped me a lot.
Yeah. At the beginning of this episode, you said you're unsure about your master of some things or not, but I can surely tell you that you are actually master of time management, man. This is something very few people are able to do this. Great. And likewise, you are a musician and a writer, and like one thing common between both of them, which is used, is in social medias. So, do you think
Yeah.
about like how helpful is social media for an artist to look for
Hmm.
out for new opportunities? Like, how do you use social media? Do you use it for
Okay.
marketing, or do you think there is a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of scope for artists?
There is, like, you cannot evade social media. It's part of our culture now. It's on how you use it and what you're trying to do with it. So initially, like, any other person, my idea with social media, with KAPOW's social media, which is very unique, and we actually get calls from digital marketing agencies. People are looking forward to what KAPOW is going to post, because it's very different from what's happening on all the other accounts, all the other music accounts as well. So my idea was to create a brand, create a music brand, let's say, which is different, which is trying to be more like people. So I'm not trying to be a big shot musician. The KAPOW brand is not like, okay, some big band is there. We are your band. What you say, we listen to it, we make content for you. So we are pretty regular when we post. And that has gotten into some troubles as well, because we post content on every topic, not just music. We'll talk about some issue which is going on, like, we'll talk about trending topics, we'll talk about time management, discipline, all of these things. So I want it to be a place where people can relate to,
Hmm.
and it's a really great tool if you use it right. I mean, people waste a lot of their time on social media, but if you use it right, it can be a great place to learn a lot of new things, connect with the right people, create new opportunities for you, and just, like, stay happier. But that is on how you use social media. So you have to learn how to read about it, read how to use social media correctly, so that it helps you in life, rather than you feeling guilty that I use so much social media and now I wasted my time, and it's not a good thing. So I never advise people to, like, delete Instagram. People do this on regular basis. They delete Instagram, Facebook. They're like, it's not helping me anymore. I'm like, it's the way you use it. Change how you use it, it'll help you.
True.
So yeah, for musicians, it's a very crucial tool, I'll say, because you get, like, it's a very powerful tool, because as a musician, what you need is an audience, and it enables you, if you are regular, consistent, again, disciplined. If you are disciplined in your posting, you are creating content that people want to see, you are actually using social media to connect with people, then obviously, like, you'll grow your audience. People will start enjoying your content. They'll have meaningful connections with you.
Nice. One question that I missed is that you told that you were not interested in Western music earlier, but then over the time you started loving English music. So, like, what is your views on Western music?
I mean, okay. So if you have asked me this question 4 years back, I would have given a very different answer. Now I would say it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Now that I've started teaching, I've started learning more about music. It doesn't matter what the language of the music it was, the style of the music is. It's music at the end of the day. People don't care about language. People don't care about what style of music it is. If they are enjoying it, if it connects with them emotionally, then it doesn't really matter. So I love Western music. I have started getting into Japanese music. I started learning Japanese, singing Japanese. I started learning Spanish. Like, I've started singing Spanish songs. I've I've been singing Hindi. I've been singing all languages. Like, it doesn't matter. All styles, all languages. So to musicians, if you are listening, then just go explore. Go explore, listen to all kinds of music, try to learn all kinds of music, try to sing all kinds of music, because it has no language barrier there. So whatever music you like, go explore things that you think you don't like. Okay, because that's where real growth happens. You think you don't like it, but you go and get into the field. You'll start listening to music which you feel, this is not something I like, but you'll find a song or two which you'll like, so you'll learn a new thing. So when it comes to Western music, yeah, like I love it. Indian music, I love it. Japanese music, like I love music. I love music in general, no matter what it is.
Mayank, I'm sure that you would be also into classical musics. Are you?
I mean, I like to listen to it sometimes, but not into it as in like I don't practice it or anything.
Okay. Mhm.
Like also when you say classical, like I think you mean Indian classical, right? So yeah, so like I listen to it because that's something like my parents enjoy sometimes, so I listen to it, but it's not something I sing or like perform. So yeah, but I'm a huge fanatic of Western classical, like Beethoven, Mozart, and all of those, Rachmaninoff and stuff. So I listen to them while I'm working. So that's always on in my house, like whenever I'm working on something or like writing something or anything, so music is always playing in the background.
Okay, got it. So let's talk about KAPOW, like
Okay.
everything about KAPOW. How did you started this, and when did you feel like, okay, this is something I should carry on, this is going to be successful? And how was like the initiator when you like started all this journey into KAPOW? What is this band about, and what is actually a goal of this?
Okay, cool. So, taking those questions, first of all, like, how KAPOW started. So, again, it was just a basic need. I wanted to make music, I wanted to release music. I needed musicians who, like, vibe with my music. So, me, my juniors, we connected, we found the right people who were missing, like, and started the band. And the moment this band started, we weren't like okay, let's do this and let's see what happens and then we'll see. From day one we were very clear about this. Okay, so this is a band, this is the brand identity, we want to be the best band, like in the country, in the world, like first in the country, then in the world, and this is how we're going to do it. So imagine, no, like even my juniors were a couple of engineers, so we were a couple of engineers sitting in a room, and one guy from like not an engineer, and we're like, okay, we need a step-by-step plan to this, we're not going to wing this. So we just sat down, we wrote a step-by-step plan, timeline. Okay, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, we're going to do this many gigs, then we're going to release music, then we're going to do this. And so we made a plan, and it was always from the day one very clear that what we want to do. We wanted to create a brand, create a band which is known by everybody, which is releasing music, which is gaining numbers. Now pandemic kind of put a dent into it because we weren't ready for it, so our timeline of 3 years is now gonna get complete in 5 years. But yeah, we're still on the same track. Couple of people have left, couple of new people have joined in. So basic thing which happens in every organization, like a couple of people leave, couple of people join in, but the main goal, the mission of the basic mission is still the same. One very interesting question about KAPOW people ask is, what is KAPOW? Like, what does it mean? So our entire, like, I don't know if you've seen, but if anybody is watching and they're interested, go like, watch what we do, because it is not about just auditory music. It's actually a visual experience. So we have our, like, we have our dress code, like, as funny as it sounds, we have a uniform as a band, which is very vibrant, very colorful, very comical. And we stick to that. We have a lot of props, we have a lot of stage antics which we do on stage, because when somebody is at my show, I don't want them to just think about music, I want them to have a experience. I want them to leave with memories. They're like, I have heard a lot of good music, but that was something else. I danced, I was having fun, I ate more than I should have, I drank more than I should have, and they were just so cool looking. Like, it was just so many colors and so many lights, it was amazing. So that's what we at KAPOW are building. And KAPOW basically means comic book punching sound. So
Yeah.
that's the effect we want to create. You are in a surprise all the time that what KAPOW is going to do. And that's how we operate as well. Like, behind the stage, off the stage, we are the most organized bunch of people. We keep everything on track. We have huge databases. Like I'm a, like, as you can see, I love databases, I love organizations, I love time management and all of those things. So behind the scene that happens, but on stage it's the complete opposite. Even we don't know what we're going to do. Our band members pull pranks on stage on each other, like without everybody knowing. So we are in a stage of surprise ourselves, and that gets communicated to the audience, and audience is also having fun. They're like, oh, this is something new. Like, they're just having fun, so why we should also have fun. So if I have to describe, like, I have to give an elevator pitch to someone to KAPOW. So I always tell them, there's this tagline that we have, ki, we don't guarantee your safety, but we guarantee your enjoyment. Okay. So you can be rest assured that you will enjoy and have fun, and you'll have the best time in life. So that's my elevator pitch for KAPOW.
Crazy.
So yeah,
Crazy.
that's what KAPOW is. And we have released an album. We have released a couple of singles. We did something in India for the first time, which I'll tell you later, Abhi. Because it's another, like,
Secret.
5-minute conversation in itself. But yeah, so we have released a lot of music. We have released music in English primarily. Now we are also releasing music in Hindi because, like, I started writing in Hindi. So I was like, why not? And now we have music coming, already released one song in Hindi, and there's more music coming in Hindi as well for our audience. So yeah, that's what KAPOW is. It's full of surprises. It's a experience. It's not a band or a musician. It's just something that you cannot forget once you get in touch with it.
Nice. And how do you see the company or the startup or whatever you call, in future? And also with that, like physics, how do you see the scope of music in India?
Oh, okay. Second question is really interesting. Though, coming to the first question, what I see KAPOW doing in a couple of years. So if all goes to plan, and the only limitation here is how much we as a team are dedicated. So if we stay on track, the KAPOW team, and we are working hard, then very soon we'll start, like, we have started touring in India already. Like, we have a couple of bases in Goa. We, like, go to Mumbai very often, Bangalore, all the major cities are being covered. But very soon we want to get out of here because most of our music is English. We are making Hindi music as well for like, Hindi listening audience, but very soon we'll start touring outside as well. So the ultimate goal is obviously, like, no small goals, or always be, like, to stay on the top, to get to the top of the field. That might happen in 5 years, that might happen in 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, doesn't matter. As long as it takes, we're gonna stay to that mission, become one of the best bands, number one band in the world, okay, by any measure, whatever the metric is, by sales or by audience or by, like, money generated or by music releases, whatever metric you want to do, we want to be at the top of it, or at least in the top ones of it. So that's the ultimate goal. But coming to the realistic question, what's the scope of music in India? It's very interesting right now. So as you can see, like, OTT platforms have come up, Netflix, Amazon, so many things are happening, and they have so many indigenous series which are being made and produced in India. And you are hearing a lot of new music. You are listening to a lot of indie artists, which were never the big names. Now you're coming across new musicians all the time. Like, there are new rappers, there are new new musicians, indie pop musicians, rock musicians. So much is going on in music. So I think we are lucky. Like, I am lucky to have thought of coming into music when it is in this phase, where in our country so much is being done about music, and there's a lot of opportunity coming up for music. I mean, there are still roadblocks, there are still areas which are not structured, not organized, because things have been going on in the music field for a very long time the way they have been. Like, not a lot of reform has come in. So, but it's happening very slowly, very gradually. It's happening. Our doors are open to international music. More people are listening to Western music. More people are listening to K-pop now, Korean music. So gradually those doors are being opened even in music industry. And I think the next 5 years are going to be really, really interesting for musicians, because there will be a lot of opportunities. Obviously the competition will always rise also, because opportunities will be there, so there will be more people pursuing it, more and more so one very interesting thing I think you would have also noticed was, during the pandemic, a lot of people
Mm.
got serious about their passion and hobbies.
Right.
They're like, okay, during the pandemic, they're like, okay, I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to do music,
Yeah,
or
actually,
I'm
there
going to
was
leave this. And
33% attrition because of just that people are now getting time and actually they figured out their passion. So yeah,
exactly.
you are right.
So since there are more people now who want to do this stuff, there will be more opportunities eventually, more growth and more competition, obviously, which is, I think, a healthy way to go. Like, so next 5 years, 10 years are going to be very, very interesting for music. So yeah, like there's a huge scope in music now compared to the last decade.
Nice. And like you said, you started as a band, but now you're feeling it is as a startup. And I'm sure that there would be a lot of challenges that you have faced. And can you just give a glimpse about what challenges did you face and how did you overcome this?
Okay. So, like, the idea of making the entire band into a company was conceived in the initial months itself, because there are some things which, like, need to be done. Because if you are a band and you are not doing things properly, which means you're not filing your taxes, you're not getting things in order, you're not a registered entity, then everything is up for grabs. Like, you don't have a unique identity. So the first thing we had to do was copyright all of our, like, logos, everything, the name, so that, like, nobody else can take it. So that was an interesting process because I've never done it before. So I was like, okay, a company needs to get their, IPs, like intellectual properties, all registered and everything. And that was an interesting process. Then figuring out the finances, like, there are 5 members or 6 members in the team. They have their own responsibilities, they have their own sources of incomes, and this is also going to be a source of income. How that will be divided, but at the same time the company stays afloat, it has the capacity to invest money, because music is initially, it is a very, not even initially, it's always a very investment heavy like, venture, because all, like, most of the money you earn, you have to reinvest that into music, into performances, into building things, into digital marketing, into promotions for your songs. So it is a little money extensive. So being very crucial, planning everything. Okay, 6 months down the line, I'm going to go and record a song in the studio and make a video out of it and promote it, and, like, run promotions, run Google ads, YouTube ads, Insta ads. So I'll need this much amount of money, so I need to have that. So to have that, I need to make sure my money distribution, my money planning, taking account of what will I earn, how much will get divided, looking for investment opportunities, so that the money which is sitting there is not getting deteriorated due to inflation, but it's actually growing over time. So these are the things, like, which were new to me. I wouldn't say they were challenges, but they were the new things that I had to learn about and kind of get into the field. Okay, well, how this happens, taxes, man, like,
Mhm.
physics student, never thought about, like, taxes and things like that. But in the last years, I have been filing taxes, GST returns. Now I know a little bit of it. Okay, how this works. So it's not a company, it's an LLP, which is a limited liability partnership, which comes, like, in a company, you have to have a board members, you have to regular meetings and everything. You have to give the minutes of the meetings and all of those things. So we made a LLP, which is a limited liability partnership, which a little bit more flexible, but also doesn't have the advantages of the company, but eventually it'll become a company once we are generating enough like, turnover every year. Right now we are not. So still a starting band. We are able to keep, like, it positive, keep everybody's plates filled with food and everything. We are growing, but it's still not at a place where we can call ourselves self-sustainable or like a growing company or anything. That'll take some, like, good amount, like half a decade or so to get there.
Yeah, I'm optimistic that you will actually reach that level sooner than you think.
Yeah, I mean, to simple, like, it's not optimism, it's more like, if something can be done in 10 years, let's say, then I'll set a goal for 5 years. If something can be done in 5 years, I'll set a goal for 2 years. If something can be done in a year, I'll set a goal for 2 months. So I like to keep myself in that pressure situation where there is always a very close deadline, so that so that it comes faster. Like, okay, TK, you said ki, okay, it's gonna happen. It usually happens in 5 years. You set a goal for 2 years, you'll achieve it in 2.5 or 3 years. So still 2 years early. So that's the pressurized situation I like to keep me and myself and my other team members into. which is, I think, important, like, initially at least.
Nice. Okay, Mayank. So we would be heading towards the end of this special episode. But before that, can you give some tips for budding artists like us on how we can grow and excel in this field of music as a beginner? I'm sure you will be
Okay.
providing some
Yeah,
incredible
sure.
tips.
Okay, so one thing that I want all the budding musicians to keep in mind is never just make music your only source of income, because then your favorite thing, which is music, will become a money making thing, and it'll be a source of frustration and pressure if it doesn't generate money, and you will be forced to do things that you don't want to do for money. So always have another skill which can generate money, which you can monetize easily, so that you are not doing music for money primarily. That will give you the freedom to do music as you want to do. Okay, this is one of the major things that musicians kind of forget, and they get into music full time, and then they struggle, and then they kind of start hating the music biz, and they start complaining, oh, this is not happening, this is not happening, and this is so bad, or this or that. So never rely on one skill. In today's economy, I feel you should have multiple skills, 2 or 3 skills, which one which, like, brings you happiness, one which you can easily monetize, and one which keeps you and your mind fit. So always have a couple of skills in the bag. That is one. Second is, there's no shortcut to getting to the top of the field. So you have to practice, you have to put in the hours. So I did it later in my life. Like, I've been singing since 3, so I had a lot of hours, even though I wasn't realizing that I was practicing, but I was. So, but during my college years, in those 4 years, I used to practice for 6 hours a day. That is a huge. Now I have the liberty, I can practice an hour or 2 hours a day, and then do a show for 3 hours. So it still counts as 5, but there is no shortcut. You have to put in the hours. So learn as much as you can, learn from anybody you can, learn from books, learn from courses, learn from YouTube, learn from Coursera, learn from wherever you want to learn. Go to people, ask them to teach you. Like, find ways, just find a way to learn. The last thing I would say is, like, money is covered, skill is covered. Third is, work on yourself, like, in general, because not just music, work on your time management skills, work on your health, work on your mind, work on generating new ideas, work on management, work on organization skills. Try different things and keep working on it, because these are the skills which will help you do anything. So no matter how good you are, if you cannot manage time, you don't have the discipline, you don't have that drive, you'll falter. So you need to be disciplined. So get into that habit, develop habits, read books. Like, that's my general advice to anything you want to read. Books, man, read. Like, a book is like, 300, 400 pages, like, average book size. That can put you 1 year ahead into whatever you want to do. So a good book can, like, really change your life. So read as much as you can. It's like condensed knowledge. 300, 400 pages may you get so much knowledge. So read as much as you can. So yeah, these are my 3 tips for musicians. Funny, like, musicians don't hear ki read more, get disciplined more. But yeah, this is the truth. Any good musician, anyone who's trying to get better in music, will always tell you ki be disciplined, be practice. Don't rely on music for money. Like, generate from other skills, and learn more.
Nice, nice. Mayank, I can actually feel that you actually tried over a lot of things, and this is some of the condensed tip that you felt. These are something that can actually, like you told, push ahead someone and save much of their time.
Very
Because
true.
some people are like just money minded, the others are mostly passion minded, and they just skip this
The
important
money
things.
aspect of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
You have to find a balance. That's the key to life. You have to find a balance. Like, you have to learn about money if you want to be successful. You cannot be like, I'm an artist, I like, money will come, like, I just have to work on my art. That doesn't work in the real world. Sorry. So you have to learn how to manage your money. You need to learn about investments. You need to learn like, how to earn more. You need to learn how to monetize things. You have to do that. Like, it's very important.
Nice. Mayank, it's difficult to describe you in words, but yeah, I'm sure that a lot of our viewers are going to love this special episode, and they are going to learn more about and move more towards some artistic fields too, and they are actually going to try these fields and hopefully be successful. So
Yeah. So one last thing I would like to add. So funny thing, like, in 2022, I have shifted my focus for my own personal social media and stuff. Like band stays the same, like, it is directed towards music. But in 2022, my social media is geared towards getting this condensed knowledge, which I have figured out by hit and trial and, like, failing multiple times in the last 5-6 years, to other people. So if, like, I'm talking about books on my social media, I'm talking about like, these different mechanism, like, my morning pages, like, you can see I have a diagram here which helps me like, get things done, like, what to assign, what not to assign. It's called a Heisenhower matrix. And all of these little productivity tips and things which I have learned from books, I'm trying to condense them and share them with the audience, like, whoever wants to listen and read. Like, I'm not concerned with if it doesn't have a huge audience. My personal accounts are for helping people, like, in different fields. So reading, be it music, I'm sharing music related, artistic related, money related things on that. So if you are one of those person who is actually interested into reading and, like, improving themselves or working out or things like that, get here. Like, I'm very open to talking to you, discussing things with you, um solving your doubts, because I learn when people ask me questions. So I always encourage people to ask me questions. There's only two things that can happen. Either I know the answer, I'll tell you the answer. Either if I don't know the answer, we'll both learn something new, we'll find the answer. So no harm in that. So ask questions.
yeah, amazing. I'm sure that most of our audience would be now interested to discuss with you. So we would be linking your Instagram handle in the description. So go Peps, have fun with it. Yeah, so yeah. So this would be the end of this session, and all the best for your career ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Like, it was amazing. Like, I talk a lot, that's generally my behavior, but I enjoy it. Like, I love when people ask me questions that make me talk more. If you ask me, like, if the question is not good, I won't talk more, talk a lot. So good questions. Thank you so much for having me here.